All right, it's a Win Ticket Wednesday here on Jake and Ben, 97.5 and 1280 The Zone. Go see one of Ben's favorite bands. If you're the 12th caller right now, 855-340-ZONE. Kill Switch Engage is bringing their Atonement tour to Salt Lake City at the Complex. Caller 12 right now, you get 2 tickets to go see them on March 2nd. Tickets available at livenation.com.
Jake, some people might have thought I was a liar on Monday when I said that I see local legend and future NFL draft pick Nick Ford every time I go to the grocery store. Sure enough, last night I braved the storm. Actually, kind of got out before the weather hit and had to pick up a couple of things at the grocery store. And who did I see while I was walking around there, following me down the drink aisle? The one and only Mr. Nick Ford.
And he took a really creepy photo.
He's a celebrity.
He took a really creepy photo.
I could have. He didn't know I was taking it. That was the best part. He didn't know I took it.
Yeah, but you tagged him on Twitter, so now he's going to open up his Twitter and be like, "God, who is this stalker?"
He did respond.
He did respond.
He actually followed me last night, which was very nice of him on Twitter. So, I'm creeping on Nick Ford. No question about it.
Ford.
So,
I'd follow you on Twitter to keep an eye on you, too. Like, this weirdo was following me around the store.
I was going to shoot him a text and ask about this.
Yeah.
No, I saw him running around. I tell you, I've seen him at the two. I'm kind of halfway between two different grocery stores. So depending on what I need, I'll go to one or I'll go to the other. And I've seen him at both. And then the other day I was doing a little late Christmas shopping, just kind of some small little knickknacks here and there. And he was in the knickknack store as well. So we are just on a very, very similar schedule
vibe.
For whatever reason that I'm going to see him around. So I'm missing my grocery store friend Nick Ford once he goes to the league next year.
How would you feel about this? Listen, Ben, you're a big deal. You're a celebrity.
I'm the most famous person in South Salt Lake.
You're a big deal.
I'm easily the most important member of the South Salt Lake community.
Well, all of a sudden you flip open your social media of whatever it is, and some guy, like my brother-in-law would do this. So it would take a picture like, look, I saw the world-famous Ben Anderson.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law, I've told you this, is a huge fan of yours.
Great.
Is like Ben Anderson's #1 fan. He this was a while ago, I guess, but he came visit me in the studio. It was for a jazz game, I think, and he's like, it was right after we started the show. He's like, is Ben here? Where's Ben? I kind of came to see you, but really I came to see Ben. It's like, I don't know. He's down to eating or something.
I better be keeping good company if that's the case.
You know?
Be careful who you're being seen with.
I'm only related to the guy, and he's like, oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, he sees you at Christmas. I'm a big deal. South Salt Lake's finest.
You are a big...
I guess next to Nick Ford, apparently.
What if my brother-in-law took a picture of himself with you in the background and be like, oh, my gosh, it's Ben Anderson. You'd think it was weird.
You're going to get recognized more than I am if we go out. By the way, did you see our artwork? We got some art. We got our headshots taken.
It looks good.
It looks really good. We look incredibly good.
So much better than my previous online picture.
Does it look good? Oh, good.
My old one.
Well, that's a win. We're in good shape then.
Oh, man. But you'd think it was weird. And you did that to Nick Ford.
I'm going to keep doing it to him. I'm going to do it every single time I see him.
He did respond.
So make sure and follow me on Twitter at Ben's Hoops. And I'm going to keep doing it because I'm going to see him for at least the next... When's the draft? February? So he's probably going to move back to California after the Rose Bowl. April? Yeah. They start doing all the prep stuff, excuse me. So he'll probably move back to L.A. after the Rose Bowl.
Well, it kind of depends on what these guys do. Some guys go train in different parts of the country, so he can go anywhere.
But he's not going to stay here.
No.
I would assume not.
And he's going to go to the Combine, so he probably doesn't necessarily need to do the pro day unless he skips a couple of things. He might do the pro day when he comes back here. We'll see. I'll see him in the grocery store.
Hey,
let's see. I go 3 or 4 times a week, and I see him every time.
Fastest turf on earth up there.
Oh yeah, he'd be crazy not to do a pro day, man. Nick Ford's going to clock in what do you think, Hatch? Like a 4.35 on the 40?
Yeah. I was going to say 4 or 6 is an offensive lineman.
No, he'd be crazy not to run that 40 at the pro day. I'm with you, Hatch. Good point. That's going to get him drafted.
That nickname, the fastest turf on earth,
is hilarious.
It actually came to me from somebody inside that program.
Really? It's hilarious. I can't remember who was that kick returner? Reggie Dunn. Reggie Dunn. That I remember like something like a
world record.
Like a world record.
Like
faster
what?
than Deion Sanders at the Combine, which is like the most infamous 40 in history. And it's like, wait a minute. I don't think so.
No.
But yeah, I bet he does his pro day. The only people that really skip pro days are
DJ Metcalf.
Yeah.
If you go and have the single greatest, who was the kid who went to Washington who set the record in the 40? And if he'd been wearing Adidas, wouldn't he have won an
$1
island?
million or something? Oh, yeah, it was an island. Yeah.
And he was like, no, I wear Nikes. Or maybe it was the other way around. But he still plays. I think he plays for the Jets. He scored a touchdown earlier this year. Anyways, regardless.
All right, Ben, today is signing day. And I wonder how much the new NIL rules are coming into play. Now, I want to play this clip for you from Lane Kiffin, the Lane Train head coach for the moment at Ole Miss. His name comes up with every job, but yet he's still there. But he was talking about the transfer portal, but I think you could apply this to recruiting as well. Here's what Lane Kiffin had to say.
I think people really say it this way, but let's not make a mistake. I mean, we have free agency in college football, and the kids a lot of times go to where they're going to get paid the most. So no one else is saying that maybe, but, the kids say, this is what I'm getting here for NIL, and so what we really have, it is what it is, Free agency has been created in college football. I can go, except you can't lock people into a contract. They can go at any time. So it's a new world that we're in, and sometimes they want to come to you and say, I get this much money if I go there. So this is just a whole new thing to deal with.
A whole new thing to deal with, Ben. And I wonder how much NIL dough is getting thrown around to some of these recruits.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we look at, the first day of the NBA free agency, somebody always tracks how much money has been spent. And it's like $1 billion, Samir. You know what I mean? Like, you have committed because you've signed 4 guys to $200 million contracts, and the rest of the league splits up $200 million. It's like, yeah, you get up to $1 billion in expenditures over the next 5 seasons. How much money gets spent on every campus right now? And there's 130 college football teams? Now, not everyone has real NIL money, but most of them do. At least all the P5 schools are putting some money out there to get kids to go around. And again, the number 1 recruit in the country is going to Jackson State to join Deion Sanders, and he ain't doing it for free.
I was going to say, there are reports out there that he could be netting himself $1 million in an NIL deal for that.
Yeah, right.
So
probably from Deion himself.
Yeah. From the Showtime brand.
Primetime Productions over here.
Yeah, exactly. So, good. There's probably a kid on the top 50 rosters who's getting $50,000 to $100,000 at every school right now.
I wonder. See, Lane talking about it right there. It sounds like he hates it. I bet coaches.
He sounds miserable.
Coaches hate it. He went on in a further comment to say that he had a kid who's on his team take a visit earlier this week that just no-showed practice because he was taking a visit somewhere else. Like, I don't know if what he's talking about right there is actually good for college football, but there's no way coaches like it, because now you've got to line up all this dough to recruit a player.
Correct.
That you have to involve, for lack of a better, you got to involve the Built Bar guy to land a dude.
Oh, correct. And it's funny because a lot of these schools, let's say Mike Leach, for example. Like, Mike Leach gets better than average quarterbacks because he has a better than average offensive system. So he gets these kids now they're Luke Falk, but Luke Falk was a 4-star kid when he committed to him. He can go out and sell himself to some of these kids to come out and play for him wherever he's going to be, because you're going to get a chance to throw the ball all over the field. So he's developed a system. Utah bats above their average in running back talent. They get better running back talent than they should, but because they always put running backs in the NFL. Same with cornerbacks. Jalen Johnson, Clark Phillips. Those kids shouldn't have gone to Utah. But they put guys in the NFL so they get that opportunity because that's what they do specifically well. That's not good enough by itself anymore, unfortunately. You have to have that, and then you also have to go out and bring in the sponsor to also land that guy. So yes, it's one more piece of the puzzle you have to include, and I'm sure that's really difficult to do.
And then once you get them, if the next year some sponsor from Colorado State comes up with more dough, sayonara.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good for the sport, Ben.
I understand that argument. I also have to say, and you've done the same thing, we've talked to Cole Fotheringham, we've talked to these kids. I talked to Nick Ford at the grocery store yesterday. Good for you. You know what I mean? You're an 18-year-old kid and you do something so well that we've put these bizarre rules in place that say you have to go to college before you can make money off your thing, professionally and play professionally, but you're good enough to make money doing it, then go make your money. That's how I feel about it, because someone's making money off you. Coaches are making money off you. Boosters, want to use your celebrity of saying, hey, I go to the games. It's great for me. I've talked about the political capital you can get from going to a game of a college kid. You talk about the attorney general going to Michigan. That's a political drive, and then she gets money out of her political career. So go have success. If you can make your money, get your money. Hopefully you treat the people well, because that will come back and bite you. Like Jay Hill told us, if you're the guy who interviews for every job as a coach, it doesn't work out for you because they recognize you're a floozy jumping around to, as a coach. players can do the same thing. If you're a player and you think, well, I'm going to go listen to Colorado State even though I committed to Utah, or I'm playing at Utah, but I'll go play at a worse school because they want to give me $25,000, in the long run, that will cost you money. It will cost you an opportunity. And you hope the kids are getting good enough advice to not chase cheap money early on.
I just wish the critics would have sunk their teeth into the NFL as opposed to ruining college football. Because the NFL has been benefiting by having a minor league system for free for years.
Correct.
So why aren't people complaining about the NFL? Well, they develop a minor league system. Then they can pay. Then they'd be professionals. Why do you have to ruin amateurism?
I understand that. And basketball's trying to figure that out. You know, baseball's always figured it out.
Yeah.
They have figured out a way to try and do it. It might truly kill college football if they were to find a way to do it in the NFL.
I don't think so, because college football isn't about the talent. In the same way that college basketball isn't about the talent.
Explain.
It's not about the level of play. It's about the association with the university. It's about winning on the level that you're playing on. It's not about college football isn't great.
It's not about the elite of the elite.
It's not about the elite of the elite. It's not about the product. It's about the passion.
And I think you could make that same argument about college basketball, because when we're talking college basketball, there's a difference between the sophomores, juniors, and seniors and the one and done freshman kids. Like, that's one league. And then there's the rest of the leagues of the guys who stick around.
And the one and done is a terrible rule, Ben. And you know whose terrible rule it is? The NBA's. It's the NBA's rule. It's not 100%. College's rule. College basketball didn't make that rule.
No, nor did they want it.
Nor do they want it.
They shouldn't want it.
They would rather have the one-and-done kids go to the NBA.
Yeah, go play for the G League Ignite or whatever you got to do.
Because the college basketball doesn't even get to capitalize on their being good.
Yeah.
Because they're gone.
Right, for the most part.
And then it's hypocrisy, because then those players are literally not going there for school. And the people who criticize that angle of it are totally right. But again, it's not the university's fault. It's the NBA's fault. You know, you think college athletes are being exploited. Well, direct that passion at the NFL, because they're the ones profiting off the farm system that they don't have to pay for.
Correct. They are. They 100% are. They have the football, because of the danger of the sport. It should be the opposite, but they get to take advantage of their players more than anyone. Because of the danger of their sport. Because you get used and abused and thrown out of the league so quickly, they don't ever commit to you very long.
Right.
And that's why they don't have guaranteed contracts either. When obviously it seems like it would be the opposite. Now, football players will argue that, well, if you gave us guaranteed contracts, we wouldn't play as hard. Because we'd get hurt. We get hurt every game right now because we're fighting for our lives literally every game. And if we didn't have to do that and we were guaranteed payouts, we wouldn't play hard every game. You know, because we don't want to get hurt. We want to stick around in the NFL as long as possible. I think I understand both of those arguments. There has to be a happy middle ground, but it is that same threat that the NFL will use to make sure they never have to develop a minor league.
But, I mean, then maybe in college football, Ben, you'd get players that, and get this, actually want to be there.
Yeah.
Because everybody says, oh, these recruits are just doing it because they want to make it to the NFL, to the next level or whatever. Well, provide them an avenue to go do that. Then I always wonder, like, people complaining about it, they go play in Canada.
Yeah. The people who will succeed most out of this, though, are those who are willing to adapt. Or the next generation of people who know how to play the system the best and know how to use the name, image, likeness deals in their favor on NLI Day to end up, saying, well, I'm a better coach than Nick Saban. I'm not actually a better coach than Nick Saban, but I know how to use NIL deals better than Nick Saban does, so we're going to get better players here, and we're going to dethrone Alabama. And that coach is coming if he's not already in college football. And it may not be a coach. It may be a booster. It may be an athletic director. It may be less about on the field. In fact, we know it's less on the field than what's going on off the field. There was another interesting article yesterday from Dennis Dodd at CBSSports.com about how this has changed the coaching carousel. And the reason the coaching carousel is so crazy right now is because you have to fire your coach in season, like Matt Wells or like Clay Helton, so you can have a new guy in place by the time you get to early signing day, which did not have to be the case. So you're firing guys like Matt Wells who are bowl-bound and are having the best season they've had since they've been at that school because you want to make sure you can replace him before the middle of December, which did not used to be the case. You didn't have to worry about this. When's the other signing day? Is it like the second?
It's the first Wednesday in February.
So you'd have 3 more months to kind of get through scouting, get through pro days,
to salvage a class.
Get through, and you don't get that opportunity anymore. So this has made, if you hate the coaching carousel, this early signing period is actually a huge part of the reason it's changed. If you love it, you can be happy for this early signing period.
Again, I don't think that's good for the sport, Ben, but do I love following it? Yeah, I do.
Correct. It's bad for the people involved. It's good for everyone on the outside looking in, getting to play with people's lives like they're goofy chess pieces that we get to reset at the end of the day.
Which is kind of sick to enjoy it, but you know what? I do.
For sure, we all do. That's why there's a radio show.
I thought the whole Oregon thing was fascinating with the behind the scenes. And which
Kalani,
alumni
is he going to leave?
out?
Is he not going to leave? Right. Is he going to get paid? Yeah, it's a soap opera. College football is best. The argument I would make against you is it's not about the talent. I'm with you. The drama in college football is better than anything.
Yes.
And the transfer portal and the early signing period, they've just thrown steroids into the mix. I mean, they've just put blood into the water of all these sharks. They've made it even crazier. And that's, if you like the excitement, if you like the chaos, it's certainly created more chaos.
And now, if you're Kyle Whittingham, you have to line up a bunch of boosters to pay your guys, which has got to ruin his day. It's obviously ruining Lane Kiffin's day.
Something happened. Someone bailed on him.
By the way, is it just me or is the Lane train honestly a national treasure?
He's great. I love him. I'm with you. I love him.
He's amazing.
His Twitter feed is peak comedy because when these rumors pop up involving him, he'll post a picture of a license plate from that state and get everybody just an absolute tizzy about it.
I love it because he's been dragged so much over his career that he just doesn't care anymore.
He's been through the horror show.
Yeah, he just doesn't care anymore.
And now he went back for a ride for fun. Like a crazy person. Like he's been through the absolute, the highest highs and the lowest lows of college football. And then he said, you know what? I think I'm going to do it again, which is really funny to say. I learned how that game can burn you, and now I'm going to go play it by my own rules.
And he probably realized that he was bound to get dragged for nothing.
Yes.
So there was nothing he could do about it.
Correct.
So you might as well laugh about it.
No, he's terrific.
Which I think is hilarious.
I'm with you. He's one of my favorite people, if not my favorite person in college football right now. That's not like a local person we get to talk to. As far as just the national drama, he's absolutely my favorite person.
You know what else I kind of like about him? And I shouldn't like this about him, but there's an honesty to it. He's not pretending that he's not trying to use your gig as not as a stepping stone gig.
Yep.
He took the Florida Atlantic, wasn't it Florida Atlantic?
FAU.
He took that job basically saying, I'm coming here because I think I can recruit to put together a winner to get a better job.
He also wanted to live on the water and be able to take his boat right out from his dock, and that's what he did.
And he doesn't really hide from it. Like other coaches just lie about it. Be like, no, we're family on 3. I'll be here forever. Never mind.
I'm here to rehabilitate my image so I can get a better job.
can get a better job. Yeah. And you know what? FAU doesn't care because they're going to get one good season out of him. Who cares? They got one good season. That's one more than they normally get. Anyway. Sorry, Ben.
No, I'm with you.
Love the Lane train.
I like the guys who are honest about it. I like the guys who are not pretending it's anything but what it is.
As a guy who walked around FAU in Boca Raton last year for BYU's bowl game, it's a pretty cool campus down there, I got to say.
Well, and I don't. We went through it with Urban Meyer, right? I mean, just if you went back and replayed all of his, I love it here, I love the mountains, my family's here, and on and on and on. You look back at it 20 years later, it's like that dude was lying through his teeth.
Yep.
For years, for 2 years he was here and he was lying the whole time.
But, okay, so we talked yesterday to Randy Ray, right? And we were talking about the incredible schedule that Weber State has to play because they've got Utah State tonight and they've got BYU coming up and they've got Fresno State. I mean, they're just playing an absolutely ridiculously difficult basketball schedule this week or this year. So who was their last win? I honestly can't even think of what the team was. It was Kent Marie State or something.
Yeah.
It was some non-real Maine Fort Kent. And what did Randy Ray say? What did the coach say? He said, we knew it wasn't a competitive game, but we're playing so many tough games, we needed a break. I'm okay that Lane Kiffin says, you know what, I've coached at USC or Tennessee or wherever, and he's going to end up again with a very high-profile job. He was offensive coordinator at Alabama. He's done the brutal job. If he wants to go spend a season at FAU, just kick his feet up every once in a while and say, you know what, my 70-hour weeks or 60-hour weeks this year, or for 2 seasons, I have no problem with it.
All right, we'll get to the top 3 stories at KSLSports.com. Coming up next, do we have another pair of tickets to give away, Hatch? All right, so stay tuned for that. Jake and Ben, 97.5 and 1280 The Zone.
With a blowout victory over San Diego State, Blake Anderson and the Aggies have brought an improbable Mountain West Conference championship to Logan. Now the Aggies prepare for a showdown against Oregon State in the first ever LA Bowl in SoFi Stadium. Your home for the best coverage of Aggie football. As as well as all the play-by-play action, is right here on 97.5, 1280 The Zone and The Zone Sports Network.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 and 1280 The Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. It's time for the top 3 stories at KSLSports.com. Brought to you today by our friends at Davis Vision. It's the 5th annual Black Friday sale. It's been extended through December at Davis Vision. Tired of glasses or contacts? Get LASIK now. Save $1,400. Limited spots available, so get on it. Check them out, davisvisionmd.com, or call 801-253-3080. That is Davis Vision. All right, Hatch, where are we starting?
Number 1, the Utah Jazz are back in action after a short hiatus against the Los Angeles Clippers.
National TV, Ben?
ESPN game.
Opportunity, I think, for the Jazz to kind of show the country how well they're playing.
Jazz are almost playing so well that you probably get some tune-outs. You know, like, we love close games. We love watching Phoenix and Portland last night go down to the wire, and, like, Phoenix wins in overtime. You're like, they're good. They won on the road, a tough game on the road. You beat the Clippers by 25 points at home the way the Jazz have beat the last 3 opponents by 25 more, it seems like, every game. People tune out and don't care that you're any good. Like, there's almost a value to being in a close game, and if Paul George doesn't play tonight, I don't know if this is going to be a very close game. But it is an opportunity for the Jazz, if the Clippers decide they want to go back out and run a small lineup against the Jazz, to put Rudy Gay out there for a little bit and see if that works.
To tune that up? I mean, most every team is doing that to the Jazz at some point during the game. I mean, Locke has made this point multiple times that they're getting practice against that, which... Yes. You know, you've got to have the right personnel, which is more important than practice. But, I mean, they are getting to look at that more. I would be surprised if that happens again to the Jazz in the playoffs, where a team just schemes them like that and it wins. And it's happened multiple years, so it's not like last year was a fluke. But I would be surprised if that happened again.
No question about it. It will be... You know, we've talked about this being this theme of what's happened. And it was like, well, Clint Capella kind of took Rudy out of the game. It was like, because... the Houston Rockets knew how to utilize this incredible mid-range game that pulled Rudy away from the paint a little bit, and then they didn't have anyone to help coming back and stopping Clint Capella from catching lobs. So they adjusted to that, and then teams moved to the corners. Like, it's going to be a different problem in this postseason. The team that says, hey, we're just going to beat Rudy by going small is going to be stupid this offseason, or this postseason, I should say, because it's not going to work because the Jazz have adjusted to make sure that that doesn't happen again. So you got to find some new way to beat them, and they will find a new way to combat the Jazz and neutralize whoever you can as much as possible. It won't be perfect, but it'll certainly help. But you can't do it anymore because Rudy Gay is here, and I think that has been a major difference for the Jazz. So it'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch this game tonight. I do think the Jazz are on the brink of, they've won 7 in a row. They're on a very good win streak and the longest in the NBA, but they could easily win, their next 6 or 7 games when you look at who's coming up.
What's and I should bring this up. Let's see here. What the Clippers are defensively this year, 4th, according to Basketball Reference. So, I mean, it's going to be a pretty good defense they're going to face, regardless. Obviously, Paul George is a big deal if he's there or not. But we'll see if this offense can continue its historic pace against a really good defense today.
The problem for the Clippers this year has been they've been not very good away from home. Now, they travel well. Their defense travels well, but a lot of their wins have come at home. I think they're only 4-5 this season in games on the road. So when they have to leave Staples Center, soon to be whatever it is, Crypto Arena or whatever it's going to be called now, they have just not been a very good basketball team. And they really struggle on the offensive end when they play on the road. In fact, they are ranked. Let me pull this up for you. The Clippers have the... Sorry, I got to find it. Clippers have the 22nd ranked offense on the road this season. So they're good defensively. They're still, I think, number 6 overall in the NBA on defense on the road. The real problem is, and the Jazz are 5th at defense on the road, not that that matters. They're playing at home tonight, but you got to be able to score with the Jazz. The teams that have been able to keep in close games with the Jazz, it's not been the defense. It's been teams that can score. Because the Jazz aren't a great defensive team. They're still pretty middle of the road. So if you can score, you're going to be okay against the Jazz. If you're going to count on your defense to slow the Jazz down, you're going to be in trouble. And the Clippers are going to be in trouble tonight.
Up next, Hatch.
Number 2, Devin Lloyd falls short of unanimous All-American status thanks to the dang AFCA.
Boo!
Can you tell me what the AFCA is?
It's the American Football Coaches Association of America. So pretty much every coach who coaches at any level of college football is a member of this organization, and they vote on this. Devin needed a first-team All-American designation from them. It was the last one he was waiting on, and he would have gotten the rare unanimous All-American status. There is the designation where you're a consensus All-American, aka you've had enough All-American citations, no matter if it's first, second, or third.
So there is a difference between consensus and unanimous.
There's a difference here. Unanimous means you are a unanimous first-team All-American. He needed one designation, one remaining from the AFCA, and they put him as a second-team All-American.
Is there any chance, and I'm sure there's not because they probably voted some time ago, but is there any chance that this is one of those situations where they're the last one and they didn't quite think, like, we're going to vote Devin Lloyd second team because we don't want him to be unanimous?
We're talking about Baseball Hall of Fame stuff with Ken Griffey. Yes,
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay. Where some mouth breather votes against them because they're like, well,
they got 99.95%.
Yeah. They don't deserve to be unanimous, you know? Or how about the movies, the Academy, when they didn't give Tom Hanks the
Academy Awards
Best Actor for Castaway, because they weren't prepared to have him be the best actor of all time because nobody else had won 3.
Right.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid. Utah has 3 unanimous. So we've talked about this a lot. They have 8 consensus All-Americans, and now Devin Lloyd is a consensus All-American. So technically it's 9.
That was already locked in.
He's not unanimous.
Yeah.
They do have 3 unanimous All-Americans. Tommy Hackett,
Mitch?
the greatest football player in Utah football history. Mitch, and then the other guy who belongs in that conversation, but not Matt Gay.
I know who it is because
Yeah, you looked it up. Mr. Cool, Louis Sakota.
King Louis.
Yeah, King Louis. Yeah. So 3 unanimous All-Americans. Devin Lloyd could have been the first non-special teams player to get it. And what is it? American Coaches of America?
Football coaches, whatever.
American Football Coaches of America.
Well, where else would they be?
Sorry, American Football Coaches Association. I apologize.
I thought it was 2 Americans.
That'd been really funny. Actually, it was 2 Americans.
Lame.
That is lame.
Lame.
That's too bad.
Shame on them.
I bet it still doesn't cost him a single penny in the NFL draft.
Probably not.
Yeah, I bet he still gets drafted in the top 15 picks. And
do you think Devin looks at that though and goes, what more did you want me to do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, who the most mad is Witt. I bet you Kyle Whittingham is livid about that. In fact, I bet you Kyle Whittingham texts the 4 other coaches that he knows today and wants to know who they voted for. He doesn't know 130 of them.
Where'd you put Lloyd? Where'd you put him on your list?
He's going to text Kalani. He's going to text. Who else does he know? Who else is Witt friends with across the league?
Not Joe Glenn.
Not Joe Glenn.
Not Cowboy Joe, no.
He doesn't have a lot. There's not a lot of guys that Witt's texting today.
But I honestly don't. Like, he single-handedly won games for his team. His team won the league.
Correct.
He was dominant. It's not like he was a run guy or a pass guy or anything like that.
The most important moments.
Yes. He led a really young defense to the best defense in their conference. Like, if I'm Devin Lloyd today, I'm looking like, well, what else could I have possibly done? Did he even miss a tackle all year?
Your 3 linebackers, though, that did make the list are Will Anderson from Bama, Nakobe Dean from Georgia, and Leo Chenal from Wisconsin.
Lame.
I agree with you. Yep, that's too bad.
Swing and a miss.
Yep. Number 3.
Money, and more money with name, image, and likeness.
Well, we'll see. Wonder how much dough these guys are putting in.
Do you think they should make this at these public schools? Should this be money that gets announced?
No, because it's not coming from the school.
Correct, it's private.
Yeah.
These kids are still playing for these schools in part because of that money. Do you think that money should be known of who's getting paid, how much the kids are getting paid? Because we do know this in the NBA. These numbers do end up getting released of who plays in these professional sports. We have a general idea of what these kids can make. Will we get to that point?
Never. And what should happen is not what's going to happen, Ben.
I'll be curious because here's what. There's 130 college football teams. 90 of them would love to see what Alabama pays their players, what Oklahoma State can pay their players, what the top schools can pay their specific players. Because it's all, yes, we can pretend it's off campus and it's not involved, but we know it's all specifically involved. There are going to be a lot of coaches that push to see that number and want to know how much they have to raise so they can play big boy sports.
And they ain't going to get it.
They probably aren't going to get it.
They ain't going to get it, man. You've got to think of this as self-interest. What possibly, like, in their self-interest would it be to give out those numbers? Correct. None. In the NBA, the shoe companies give out the big contracts because they like to brag about it.
Correct.
Because it attracts more athletes under their brand.
We want to leak that LeBron might have gotten $1 billion deal.
Yes. That's in their self-interest. It's like coaches talking about injuries midweek. What good would that possibly do them?
Not for the top schools.
None.
But the top schools are the ones that make the decisions in college football.
Well, why don't they just say it? I mean, the guy's got an ankle injury. Why don't they talk about it? Because it doesn't work to their advantage. In fact, it works to their disadvantage. So we're never going to find out because, one, the companies don't want to talk about it, and two, the schools don't want to talk about it, and maybe the players do, but they also want to make more, so they're not going to talk about it either.
You're right. We're not going to see that number. I would like to. Not that I care how much these kids are making necessarily. I'm happy for these kids. I hope these kids make as much money as they possibly can. I want these kids to get rich. If that's the rule that they're going to play by, and these kids are worth X amount of dollars, let those kids make X amount of dollars. But, if you want to talk about fairness in college football, if that's the goal at all, is to have a somewhat even playing field, it would be nice to know, what it costs to put a good football team on the field.
That goal's gone, Ben. That's a thing long ago.
But 2 4-star kids for Utah, 2 4-star kids for BYU so far as a part of these classes. Lander Barton out of Brighton High School. The linebacker going to Utah, Nate Johnson out of Clovis. The quarterback going to Utah, so a 4-star kid there. Cody Hagan, the wide receiver from Corner Canyon, 4-star commit to BYU. And Isaiah Moa, a 4-star recruit out of Weber, going to BYU on the D-line, was formerly committed to the University of Utah.
Let's see. Even though I hate this stuff, I was going to bring up the rankings.
National rank right now for the University of Utah, as of kids who have already signed, number 37 class in the country, number 4 in the Pac-12. BYU, number 54 in the country, number 2 independent ranking, of course, going to be behind Notre Dame. Average star ranking, and even though this isn't your star, it's kind of just your if you're like an 89 or above, I think you're a 4-star kid. Utah's ranking is 0.87, BYU's is 0.83.
And this is according to whom?
24/7.
24/7 Sports, who I consider to be the best of the bunch.
They've got USC last in the Pac-12 with they only have 5 commits. Washington only has 6. They're 11th.
A lot of the programs that have coaching turnover typically will fare poorly in this early window, and that's when we already talked about the next signing day in early February. That's when a lot of those will have an uptick because they actually get those coaching staffs in place and start their recruiting in earnest.
And if you want a deeper dive on each of these kids, you can go to KSLSports.com. Trevor Allen and Mitch Harper both have really good breakdowns on all these kids. In fact, I think Mitch has interviewed basically every recruit that's committing to BYU this year. Is going to have them on a podcast, so you can find all those at KSLSports.com.
And I'm not sure if this is a team effort or not, but they're keeping track of the Aggies too. So for you Utah State fans out there, KSLSports.com, and we'd give someone credit, but the byline just says KSL Sports.
Yeah. It's a team effort, like you said.
Teamwork that makes the dream work, Ben.
Alabama, or I should say Georgia, has the top recruiting class in the country. 4 5-star kids, 15 4-star kids. Alabama 2, A&M 3, Ohio State 4, Texas 5, Penn State 6, Notre Dame 7. How about North Carolina unloading the cash? Even though they've only they've come in at number 8. Michigan 9, Oklahoma 10. Round out your top
we
10.
Can talk about cheating in college sports all you want, but North Carolina is the only school that I know of that actually created a fake program for athletes. Or a fake, class.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you see who in the Pac-12 has the best recruiting class? Don't look it up. Don't cheat. Just guess. You're cheating. I can look at your eyes. You're cheating.
Beavs.
Stanford.
How about that?
Stanford has the top recruiting class in the Pac-12.
Well, they need it. I don't know if you watched Stanford much this year, but they need it. We have some breaking Jazz news, Hatch.
Comes from Adrian
Wojnarowski.
My apologies.
You're good. You're choking.
The Utah Jazz are hiring Danny Ainge as alternate governor and CEO, sources tell ESPN. Ainge will oversee basketball, and Justin Zanuck will remain in place as the general manager.
Huh.
Wow. CEO, Danny Ainge. I wonder where in the hierarchy our guy Jim Olsen is now, who's the current president of the Jazz?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
But this was coming. Ryan
certainly felt like that was going to be the case. Yep.
Ryan and Danny are very close. They've had a relationship well before he ever purchased the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
And seems to me the type of guy who has a basketball mind like Danny Ainge at his disposal. He's probably going to use it.
Yep.
I just wonder how. I mean, CEO. I mean, that's a full-time job. I wondered whether Danny would be like a consultant or
that's
something.
That's what I kind of assumed it would be.
But I mean, that sounds pretty permanent full-timey to me, no?
An alternate governor, that means he has voting powers in absence of, I believe it's Ryan Smith who is the actual governor.
Correct.
So he has those voting powers when abdicated.
Big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah.
Bring Danny Ainge in, brought Dwayne Wade in.
Yep.
I mean, he's doing his thing.
Danny's a networker, too. He knows a lot about basketball. He's been around for a very long time. He's a good team builder. Obviously, he built those great Boston Celtics teams.
Let's give away some Jazz tickets for tonight's game. Be the 12th caller right now. 855-340-ZONE, 855-340-ZONE, and you're going to go see the Jazz and the Clippers tonight. We'll get you ready for Hans and Scotty coming up next. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5 and 1280 The Zone.
This is Hans and Scotty.
Let's do it.
The athletic director of the University of Utah, Mark Harlan.
I'm curious what the difference in financial impact a Rose Bowl is as compared to like an Armed Forces Bowl.
Here's what I know to be true. It's not extra millions flowing into the athletic department in that way, but it's broader a lift to the entire university. That makes it such a special thing. I mean, on January 1, there'll be more people focused in on the brand of Utah, maybe outside of the Final Four years ago on that day. And it's hard to put a value number on that, but we're just most excited about all the energy surrounding the University of Utah. I mean, I think, guys, when this thing is said and done, we may have 60,000 plus fans based on some of the data I was looking at. We're going to be unbelievable in our representation of the game, and that's just so exciting.
What kind of a show is this?
Catch Hans Olsen and Scotty G every day from noon to 3 on 97.5 1280 The Zone, powered by KSLSports.com.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 and 1280 The Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Hey, I've got a question for Scotty. Pop Scotty's mic on real quick. And you know what? Ben can answer this too because he's got kids that are older than mine. But Scotty, Scotty's got a college student. Where's Brooks now? Middle school still? Or is he in high school?
In ninth grade.
Ninth grade.
So still junior high. But
and then you've got an elementary schooler.
Yes.
When can you totally turn over driveway duty to your children?
How old? That's a fantastic question. I am not there yet.
No?
Even with the college age kid.
Really?
Because,
dang it.
Well, okay, it just depends on how well you want the job done. Like, I should, as a good parent, be turning over lawn mowing duties, all that stuff over to help them learn and develop.
Yeah.
But they do it poorly and they don't do it well. And that's a reflection on you as a family. And so when people drive up to your house and they see like the mohawks in the lawn and stuff like that, that's a reflection on you. So I'm like, you just go away. I want it done. I want it done the right way. So just get out of the way.
I've got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, and we just started doing dishes as a family. So all three of us kind of get together and load the dishwasher, and the youngest can put the forks and the knives and the spoons away, not the knives, but the forks and the spoons away, and the oldest is on kind of dish duty, and I'm showing him where everything goes and how to do all that.
See, my 4-year-old, her role in the dinner process is setting the table.
You're getting started early, though.
Oh, as early as possible.
Right.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Why do you think I had kids?
Unload duties.
Unload duties.
You know, indentured servants. I like
Scotty loves mowing the lawn, and that's a genuine thing.
I do.
I do not. I don't like weeding the garden. I don't like doing any of that. So the sooner that she gets on it, the better.
You can have tiny little kids, though.
I know. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying.
She
what
may
age?
never be able to run a lawn mower.
Oh, yeah. She is little.
Yeah.
That's true.
You might never she may never be mowing the lawn for you.
It's not a problem at our house. We got big strapping dudes.
Yeah, right.
And and I probably should, as a parent, to be able to show skills and transfer them down to the next generation. They just annoy me with their inability to do it correctly. And so I just just get out of the way.
Dad's on it. See, now, who I really should be asking this question to is...
You guys after these last two shows think I hate my kids. Like, they're great kids, by the way.
Oh, your kids are the best.
Okay.
Are you kidding? No.
Every time I come on with you guys, I'm talking smack.
No, and you know what? You're a good dad. That's another reason I ask you these questions, because I don't want to overstep it, like you send a 5-year-old out there into the snow to do it. I got to... Yeah. You came before me from a parenting standpoint, so I'm just trying to learn. I'm just trying to gather.
Made a lot of mistakes, man.
Yeah, I have to make mistakes.
Poor firstborns.
Every single day.
They get all of them. They get all of them. Yeah, I'm raising my daughter just fine. She's going to be good, but my poor son has had to deal with so much
poor
from
guinea
me.
Pigs, man.
Yep.
Except for Scotty's firstborn is like the smartest kid on the planet.
Well, he takes after his mom, that's for sure.
Musically gifted? Well-adjusted? Like, you did a lot of stuff right.
Yeah, he's a good kid, for sure. He's number 2 in the latest power rankings.
He's number 2 in the latest. I love it how that changes.
Yeah.
I do. I love that how that changes. You want to give a tease? Is Hans off doing his bowl stuff?
No. Hans is with us today. We're here in studio. This is a lovely place. We haven't been here in, it seems like, forever.
It's good to see you.
Yeah. So, we got a lot breaking down, a lot of bowl game prep, a lot of getting ready. Of course, he'll be in Shreveport calling that game. And then I'll be in Los Angeles. I'll be out there tomorrow. We got Weber State, Utah State tonight. A lot of fun stuff to break down.
I'm jelly, by the way, that you're going to that stadium to call that. What a great bowl for the Aggies. What a great situation for that team.
Well, it was fun, too, because they played at UNLV this year, too. So they've got the 2 new NFL stadiums under their belt this year.
It's good to be Scotty G.
Doesn't suck.
All right, stay tuned. Hans and Scotty coming up next, Ben. Enjoy your snowy afternoon, buddy. Take the kids sledding or something.
Thanks for doing double duty today.
Appreciate you, Hatch. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Jake and Ben, 97.5 and 1280 The Zone.